Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending the IC 2022 Masterclass 3 Business Model Canvas. We have shared the virtual background in the textbook to be used during the session. Please open your camera during the session. Again, we remind you attend all of Masterclass because Masterclass sessions are mandatory if you join the IC 2022. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to IC 2022 Masterclass Business Model Canvas, organized by Esa Unggul University or by Arizona State University. To begin with, I would like to deliver my greetings to Bapak Dr. Ferial Abadi, SAMSI, as the Chairman of Entrepreneurship International Competition, Ibu Prita Suyudi, SHMKN, as the Director of International Office, and the co-chair of the competition, Bapak Dr. Tantri Yanuar Rahmat Syah, SAMSM as the Dean of Faculty of Economic and Business, Bapak Abdul Hai Baramli as the Vice Dean of the Faculty of Economic and Business, Bapak Dr. Edi Hamdi, MSc as Lecturer Faculty of Economic and Business, Universitas Esa Unggul, Bapak Dr. Insinyur Dimas Negoro, MM IPM as Lecturer Faculty of Economic and Business, Universitas Esa Unggul, and the Honorable colleagues from our partner universities. Thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Sunardi. Please allow me to give your talk this session for the next 2 hours. Now, I would like to give the time to Bapak Abdul Hai Baramli as the Vice Dean of the Faculty of Economic and Business. Pak Haiba, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much for this time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody, and good afternoon. The Honorable Mr. Dr. Tantri Yanuar Rahmat Syah, Dean of Faculty of Economic and Business, the Honorable Mr. Dr. Ferial Abadi, Ketua Panitia, and Mrs. Prita Suyuti, PhD, and Dr. Edi Hamdi, the teacher, and all participants as the Entrepreneurship International Competition 2022. Okay, the first of all, let us praise and thank the presence of Allah Almighty for the abundance of grace and the joy of all of us can still gather in this place without any barrier at all and in good health. And not forgetting the salawat and greeting we pour out to the Prophet Muhammad, who has brought us out of the dark age to the era of bright light today. May we all get intersection on the end, and Amin. On this occasion, allow me standing here to deliver a couple of sentence speech that will bring us to go to the glory. And I want to say all of you, the student, how are you guys? How many students today, Daisy?
So far, we have 85 participants, but later on, I think we will have more.
Okay. 80 participants. I'm sure you are all in good health and successful. And there is a saying that if you don't know a person, how can you love the person? Therefore, I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Abdul Haiba Ramli. You can call me Haiba. And right now, I'm working at SI Unggul University as Vice of Dean in the Economic and Business Faculty. And I said for all participants, please welcome to the Entrepreneurship International Competition 2022 in master class today. In today's session about business model canvas from Mr. Dr. Eddie Hamdi. I hope all of you can enjoy this session, and we will success in the competition. And thank you for all, and especially for Dr. Eddie Hamdi to teaching this master class. Okay, wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good afternoon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Haiba, for the speech. And now, okay, it's time to start our main event today. We will have 2 class sessions today with great people in the reflex. We have Bapak Dr. Eddie Hamdi, MSc, as a lecturer, Faculty of Economic and Business, Universitas Esa Unggul. For the participants, if you have the question, we will have the Q&A session after this. In the meantime, you may read the question on the text board or raise hand during the Q&A session. Pak Eddie, the time is yours.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can you hear my sound? Can you hear my voice loud and clear? Tell me if you...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We can.
Loud and clear, Pak Eddie Hamdi.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like to say thank you for all the committee to invite me as a presenter, as a facilitator for this evening, especially for the business model canvas. So, okay, I would like to share with you all the materials, presented materials. So with me, Pak Dimas will be joining us after this session. So there would be 2 sessions. First is the business model canvas, the concepts and insights, and Pak Dimas, who will explain in more detail, especially for the business canvas. So basically, what we are discussing today is quite a basic anyway. It's something that you need to know in a very basic understanding. What is the value? Maybe at some points we may understand value, but we may not know what is the detail, what is the definition, and implication if we would like to proceed with some kind of business proposal. And the next one is about the business model itself. And we will discuss later on the canvassing and some insights on the value proposition canvas. Please interrupt me if you think you have problem in reaching the presentation or to get my voice. Yeah, you can interrupt me anytime. But as a moderator explained that the dedicated Q&A will be later on when this presentation completed. Okay, basically, as you can see here, when we discuss on the value, basically we are discussing on the benefits of the products and the hassle to acquire. Let me use some bahasa Indonesia explanation on the hassle to acquire. Waktu atau kerepotan yang kita perlukan. So basically a value, we can call it as a manfaat, and the benefits of the products is the keuntungan yang kita dapatkan dari produk-produk tersebut, and the hassle to acquire is kerepotan atau pengorbanan yang kita perlukan. So basically, the value is something that we can get from the benefits, while we have to take into account all the hassle to acquire. Manfaat adalah sesuatu yang kita dapatkan, sesuatu keuntungan yang kita dapatkan dari suatu barang atau jasa, tetapi dikurangi, manfaat tersebut keuntungan tersebut harus kita kurangi dengan segala hal kerepotan yang kita keluarkan untuk mendapatkan benefit tersebut. I hope this very basic definition will give you very clear understanding on what is the value. For most of the time, I would like to say that the best definition of the value, maybe in bahasa, is just manfaat. Okay, I would like to share with you some a short video. I hope this video just give you some insights on how the value itself can be perceived. Okay, I will share to you the video. Hold a second. Is it there on the screen? Oh, I think I have a problem here.
Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you.
No. Okay, let me stop. I think there is some. Okay, we can go back to the. No. Okay, sorry. I think there's some problems with the presentation, but I can go back to the presentation first. We can go back to the video, but later on. But can you see the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Is it there on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the product, the benefits. So as I just explained, that this is the benefits you can get from any product or services that we acquire. It may in the form of, it saves your time, it saves our time in doing something. It may simplify the typical work that we are getting used to, and it may give us some money. Of course, this is a very clear that the benefits, the product benefits can help us making more money, and it may help us in reducing the risk, or it may help us to organize something much better. It may, let's say, like a Facebook, by subscribing the Facebook, you can connect to all the friends that you have forgotten for many years, let's say. And then some products or services can provide you less effort, so it will help you in many ways, and of course it will reduces the long-term cost. So as I told you before, when we purchase or when we acquire the product or the services, we need to pay, not only in the form of money, but of course in the form of time. By the time we pay or we purchase something, we have to pay time basis or on a monetary basis, and I mean on the value basis. So benefits minus all the sacrifices or the hassle to acquire is the value. So let me explain, let me rephrase in bahasa. Manfaat adalah sesuatu yang bisa kita dapatkan dari selisih keunggulan atau keuntungan produk atau jasa yang kita dapatkan, dikurangi pengorbanan yang kita keluarkan. Okay, let me proceed. We will go back to the video, but let me proceed with the next slide. The very basic understanding of value is it something that we or the customer wants or something we or customer need. So maybe in bahasa, want is keinginan while need is kebutuhan. We have to be very careful. Are we willing to fulfill keinginan or we just would like to feel kebutuhan atau keperluan, needs. So this is something very basic that we need to understand. Wants and needs. So wants is something to do with desire, just like keinginan. We can want anything, but maybe we can only afford one thing or two things. Let's say, I want to eat a burger. This is a keinginan. While in the very basic level, what we need basically is only some food. So need or kebutuhan is saya ingin makan. So you can see the difference. Saya mau atau saya ingin makan burger, sama satu lagi, saya perlu atau saya butuh untuk makan. So you can see the difference. The wants and the needs. I want to drink some lime juice. You can compare it with I need to drink some water. Not a very fancy thing, you know. Water is just water, while the lime juice is something more delicious than the water. And the next, just like I want to paint a picture, is maybe you have you need to paint, you want to paint something beautiful, while in the case of the need, it's just I need to do my homework. So this is the very basic of understanding of a want and need, give us more understanding on the value. If we continue with the next slide. So value is not defined basically, it's perceived. Jadi manfaat itu pada dasarnya hanya bisa dipersepsi oleh customer. Jadi sekalipun kita menganggap manfaatnya A, tetapi pada dasarnya customer lah yang menentukan dia memang A atau jangan-jangan sebenarnya A minus atau A kurang ya. Jadi basically what we are discussing in reality is not the value we created, but is the value that perceived by the customer. So you can see here, seller, as a seller, we are proposing a value, while the customer, they perceive, mereka mempersepsikan value. So this is something that we just discussed. I want or I need. So if we want that our product or our services is valuable, we need to make sure that either it fulfills their wants or at least it fulfills their needs. Jadi sesuatu itu menjadi lebih bernilai, bermanfaat jika memang itu diinginkan oleh customer atau jika itu memang diperlukan secara basic ya, jadi memang dia perlu butuh gitu ya terhadap manfaat tersebut. If those two wants and needs are out of the context, so surely it's not considered as a valuable. So basically, what is their wants and then what is their needs? Kita harus tahu keinginan mereka apa dan keperluan mereka seperti apa. The next second thing of the ideas of value is differentiated. So no alternatives are as good. So basically in bahasa is dibedakan. Jadi kita harus menganggap bahwa kita harus yakin bahwa customer menganggap tidak ada pilihan lain sebagus yang punya kita. So there is no alternatives are as good, which is that's the reason why they choose us. That's the second basic idea of our value. And the last one, the last but not the least, of course, substantiated, bermakna. So basically, we need trust and we need belief. Dalam bahasa mungkin bisa saya jelaskan, ketika customer percaya sama kita, trust ya. Mungkin di sini saya tidak akan coba bedakan ya, trust dan belief. Kata saya ambil satu definisi saja, percaya. Dalam bahasa Inggris dia bisa berbeda ya. Kepercayaan sifatnya trust itu sifatnya lebih relational, relationship. Sementara kalau belief bisa jadi cuma satu arah ya. Tapi dalam konteks ini the basic idea is value is there if the customer believe us. Mereka percaya bahwa kita memang memberikan manfaat. Jadi basicnya ada 3 ya, Bapak Ibu, participants of EIC, valuable, differentiated, and substantiated. This is the basic idea. So ketika kita menganggap bahwa Bapak Ibu partisipan sedang menggarap suatu usulan usaha, pastikan bahwa yang kita usulkan memang bermanfaat di mata calon customer kita. Memenuhi keinginan, memenuhi keperluan, dianggap tidak ada alternatif yang lebih baik, dan mereka percaya kepada kita. Jadi, this is all the basics. Wants, needs, differentiated, and substantiated. And basically what we are doing when we offering our products is to minimize the gap, just to make sure that the value perception from the before the customer, I mean in front of the customer, is as close as possible to what we are selling. So decision to sell, I mean we as the owner of a business, we decide to sell, while the customer, they would like to, or they have to decide to buy. So decision to sell and decision to buy to meet at some points. And next, I can continue for the next slide. So this is the value proposition. Let me go back. Value proposition and value perception. I would like to rephrase by the definition itself. Okay, value proposition is innovation, service, or feature intended to make a company or product attractive to customer. In bahasa, maybe we can understand this as sesuatu yang kita tawarkan yang dapat menarik pelanggan. That's the value proposition. And then what is the perceived value? So perceived value is the customer evaluation of the merits of a product or services. So maybe we can simply understand this as sesuatu yang dianggap berharga, dianggap bermanfaat, merits ya, merits itu sesuatu yang berharga di mata pelanggan. So this is the value perception gap. The value proposition to be as close as possible with the value perception. Manfaat yang kita tawarkan diharapkan sebisa mungkin dekat dengan persepsi manfaat yang ada di kepala customer. Through the question and answer session, we can discuss this in more detail. Next is we can proceed with the business model. This is the second topics that I have addressed from the beginning. So once we understand the value, now we need to understand the business model or the model business in bahasa. The basic idea of the business model is that to describe how, so the underline is how. Business model is about the activity, tentang bagaimana berbuat, bagaimana melakukan, bagaimana suatu perusahaan atau organisasi yang menciptakan, mendeliver atau mengirim, dan akhirnya menangkap value atau meraih manfaat. The basic idea is that the value itself will be enjoyed or will be partly will go to ourselves as well. So we are selling, let's say, something 10,000, let's say 10 million rupiah, and then we are giving the value to the customer by giving the product or services that we sell, and then in return we get the money. So there is no value for free. This is the basic idea. We create, and then we capture. We create, we deliver, and we capture. So you can understand. You can sense the sequences. And the next definition is that a business model are used to describe and classify businesses. This is something that really have many things to do with our event right now, which is entrepreneurial events. That the business model is really needed when we start the business. So to describe what we do and to classify what we are doing, so we can group ourselves into the other, let's say, competitors, rivals, and so on. So we can group ourselves by understanding what we do. So what we do is our business model, and then we can group our business model to other business model. Basically, maybe I can rephrase in bahasa, business model adalah sesuatu yang kita lakukan. Jadi how, the underline is how. Bagaimana kita menciptakan manfaat, bagaimana kita mengirimkan manfaat tersebut ke para pelanggan, dan bagaimana dari manfaat tersebut kita menikmati, tentu dalam bentuk keuntungan ya, sehingga kita bisa memberikan manfaat lebih lanjut. Jadi bukan cuma one time transaction, jadi bukan cuma satu kali pembelian gitu ya. Besok mereka bisa beli lagi, bulan depan mereka masih bisa membeli lagi dari kita, dan seterusnya, dan seterusnya. I need to highlight the next statement that luck is not a business model. Keberuntungan bukanlah model bisnis. So the idea is that we have to design. So Bapak Ibu ketika ingin merancang sesuatu, merancang bisnis, baik berupa produk atau jasa, Bapak Ibu harus melakukan perancangan model bisnis. Jadi tidak bisa mengandalkan keberuntungan. Luck is not a business model. We have to design our business model from the very first place. Kita harus rancang model bisnis kita dari awal. Jadi jangan berharap, tentu keberuntungan tentu ada ya, tapi kita harus rancang dari awal. So this is the further definition of the business model. Can you see on the screen clearly? Halo?
Yes.
Bisa lihat ya? Kasih
Bisa,
tahu
Pak.
saya kalau tidak pindah slide. Oke, makasih. So basically, this is a triangle of a business model. There is what, there is how, why, and who. Apa, bagaimana, mengapa, dan siapa. As you can see here, siapa or who located in the center of this triangle. It means that the customer is the focus of what we are doing. Jadi pelanggan atau customer itu memang pusat utama dari apa yang kita lakukan. Untuk mereka lah kita merancang business model. First, I would like to explain a bit on the value proposition. This is we discussed it on the previous slide. Jadi apa yang kita tawarkan kepada customer itulah value proposition. Barang apa, inovasi apa, service apa, sehingga mereka tertarik kepada kita. That's the number one. The second is value chain, is how. Jadi bagaimana. Here is described as a series of consecutive steps. Jadi langkah-langkah yang kita lakukan mulai dari awal sampai dia bisa dinikmati oleh pelanggan. From its initial design to its arrival at the customer's door. So from the very scratch, dari nol sampai bisa dinikmati oleh pelanggan. Jadi meliputi persiapan barang, pembuatan barang, sampai pengiriman barang. All the value chains. So what and then how. The next corner is why. Why is profitable. This is the explanation. We call it as a revenue model, atau bagaimana kita bisa mendapatkan penghasilan. Jadi ini terkait dengan bagaimana usaha kita atau bisnis kita bisa menarik uangnya pelanggan. Because we are doing this for the sake of a profit. This is not something for free. Jadi bagaimana cara kita mendapatkan keuntungan dari pelanggan, itu yang disebut dengan revenue model. In the middle is who, because what we are discussing to fulfill the customer. I hope you can recall what we discussed before, that the customer would like to have their wants or their needs. Jadi pelanggan, kita harus pastikan bahwa pelanggan merasa bahwa keinginannya terpenuhi, wants-nya ya, atau needs-nya terpenuhi, atau kebutuhannya terpenuhi. Jika mereka ingin makan, kita bisa berikan mereka makanan. Jika mereka perlu makan, needs-nya, jika mereka perlu makan, pastikan kita memberikan mereka makanan. Tapi jika mereka ingin lebih dari sekedar makanan, jadi wants-nya, jika mereka ingin burger, maka pastikan kita bisa memberikan burger. Jadi intinya adalah keinginan mereka atau keperluan mereka dapat dipenuhi melalui apa yang kita tawarkan, kemudian bagaimana kita bisa melakukan kegiatan dari awal sampai akhir sehingga produk atau jasa tersebut dapat diterima ya. Dan yang ketiga adalah bagaimana mereka bisa membayar apa yang kita jual dan memberikan penghasilan buat kita gitu ya. In the next Q&A we can discuss this in more detail, but basically this is the very basic idea of a business model. And this says, I would like to, this is something that we, on a daily basis, I believe most of us are dealing with. We are dealing with a Gojek, not only for the transportation, but also for the food, for sending packages and so on. See, what do we have here in slides? On the left side, this is something to do with the how, sign up. So, this yang sebelah kiri menjelaskan bagaimana Gojek berhubungan dengan baik pelanggan, konsumen, ataupun merchant, dalam hal ini para partner ya, atau mitra, dan bagaimana berhubungan dengan para drivers. In the eye of Gojek, basically they are customer. They can be driver, they can be merchants or partners, or they can be us as a consumer. So basically, this part describing how You can see this is what we are discussing in this part. We need to sign up. The customer, let's say, needs to sign up. We need to say what we need. We have to book. We pay the bill, and then later on we receive what we need. For the merchants or the mitra, let's say, para penjual, ya, they will receive the order from us as buyers. They will prepare the order, and then they will deliver. And the next one is the driver itself. They need to define themselves, so we as a customer trust that the driver will come, pick the order, and deliver to us. So basically, on the left side, this one explaining the how or bagaimana. And the next one is Gojek makes money. They get money from the business. They get money from the consumer, or let's say customer, and they get commission from the driver. So this is how Gojek get the money. So this is something to do with the revenue model. So we are fulfilling two, the why and the how. So what is the next then? What is remaining from all those three? Apa yang belum nih? Kita sudah membicarakan bagaimana mereka mendapatkan penghasilan. Kita sudah membicarakan bagaimana mereka memberikan manfaat ke para pelanggan. Tetapi kita belum membicarakan bagaimana apa yang mereka tawarkan ke customer. So we need to sit for a while. We have to, let's say, to digest what is basically the offering from Gojek. Apa yang sebenarnya ditawarkan oleh Gojek? So if you see the Gojek
satu membeli menanti sabar.
Sorry, ada bocor ya. Okay. What they are offering is one-stop shop for multiple needs. You can check on their website or on their I don't know advertisement. Basically, what they are offering is one-stop shop. Satu solusi yang bisa memenuhi beberapa kebutuhan. So we can see what they are offering is very wide. Jadi Gojek itu sebenarnya menawarkan banyak keperluan atau banyak bisa memenuhi keinginan kita untuk bertransportasi. Gojek bisa memenuhi kita untuk membeli makanan. Gojek bisa membantu kita dalam mengantar pesanan, gitu ya. Kalau katakanlah kita ingin mengantar satu dokumen ke tempat lain. So now we are fulfilling the last component, which is what? This is how the value chain. This is the revenue model, and this is the value proposition. Jadi we have to make sure by the time we are designing a new business, at least we are covering those three aspects. What, how, and why. While at the same time making sure that we are the customers are the king. I mean, kita memang harus pastikan bahwa kita memenuhi keinginan atau keperluan dari pelanggan. Okay, this is something that we can discuss later on during Q&A. But basically, what I would like to share with you is more practical. Let's say in this weeks, maybe started from in the beginning of this year, we know that Wuling, the Chinese car manufacturers, they launch electrical car, which is a very cute, I would say. So we can see what is basically must be something that we think have to be there, and then what is something that maybe we say we can need it, or maybe we can say, no, we don't need it. And the last one is something that maybe if we have it, it's okay, but if we don't have it, it's no problem. So in bahasa, let's say, the value atau manfaat dari Wuling ini juga harus dibedakan dari apa yang mereka berikan secara fundamental. Apakah kendaraan ini hanya diperlukan untuk sekedar merasakan mobil listrik, katakanlah. Gitu ya. Jadi basicnya karena memang mobil listrik, the very first electric car which is affordable for most of us, harganya masih affordable ya, sekitar 200 sampai 300 juta. Jika kita bandingkan dengan pesaing, tentu dia bermain di pangsa pasar yang paling bawah. Jadi kita harus yakinkan apakah value-nya memang yang paling basic dari sekedar mobil listrik dia sudah terpenuhi. The next one is the performance. Apakah kinerja dasar dari suatu mobil bisa dipenuhi, bisa jalan jauh, bisa melewati tanjakan tajam, bisa setidaknya mengangkut bagasi yang paling minimal 1 atau 2 koper gitu ya. Yang ketiga adalah delighters, something that if we have it, some of the customer will happy, but if we remove it, maybe they will not complain much more. Jadi kalau kita punya, katakanlah kalau Wuling, kita tahu ya Wuling itu memberikan pilihan warna yang sangat atraktif ya, ada kuning, pink, hijau ya, warna-warna yang bisa memberikan keuntungan. Jadi ada value yang sebenarnya tidak must be, tidak related dengan performance, tapi memberikan satu value atau satu manfaat, satu keuntungan bagi para pelanggan. Bisa kita lihat ya, ini bentuknya triangle. The must be elements are the numbers of the must be components should be the biggest one. And then for the performance requirement, maybe the numbers are something between the very few and then something that a lot, bisa berada di tengah-tengah, something that affordable. While for the lighter, something that which is very good, maybe something that to be compromised with the price. Kalau kita ingin banyak sesuatu yang lebih dari sekedar mobil listrik, tentu kita harus membayar lebih dari Wuling. Bentar ya. Okay, we can proceed with the next slide. How many minutes do I have, moderator? Okay, guys, I still have a few slides to present. I would like to proceed with the canvassing. Maybe in Bahasa we just say canvas. Yeah, one may say that canvassing is something that related on the prospecting. This is correct, but this is not right. Not at least in our context. Jadi kalau kita bicara canvassing, mungkin kita mengartikan bahwa kita memastikan bahwa pelanggan kita memang akan prospek membeli barang kita. Itu salah satu pemahaman dari canvassing. But this is not the one what we are discussing now. Canvassing in this context, in this evening session context, is a visual representation of a business model. So basically, when we discuss what is a canvas, adalah sesuatu penggambaran secara visual dari bisnis model. Saya ulangi ya, kita sudah paham tentang bisnis model. Ada what, ada how, ada why, dan di tengah-tengahnya ada who. Setidaknya dari kanvas ini kita harus melakukan representasi secara visual terhadap bisnis model yang barusan gitu ya. And highlighting all the key strategic factors. It should be general, it should be holistic, comprehensive, and it will cover what we are doing, the company is working, who are the customers, and what are the revenue streams. That's the very basic. So for this definition, this is correct, and this is also right in this evening context. Jadi, melakukan kanvas adalah melakukan representasi visual. Jadi menggambarkan bisnis model yang tadi kita pahami ya. Kan urutannya adalah value, kemudian bisnis model, kemudian kanvas. Kalau kita tidak paham tentang value yang kita berikan, mustahil kita bisa menggambarkan kanvas. Kalau kita tidak paham bisnis model atau apa yang akan kita lakukan, mustahil juga kita dapat menggambarkan kanvas. So this is the idea of canvas, of visual representation. Next is the value proposition canvas. Value proposition canvas, basically there are two elements here. You can see on the left are the boxes consist of three elements. Value proposition. This is in the eye of a producer, or let's say us as our businessman. Jadi value proposition ini ada di sebelah kiri, sementara satu lagi, or the circle, is to profiling the customer. We have to make sure that they are met. Jadi di sini yang kita bicarakan adalah kotak yang berisikan manfaat yang kita tawarkan, value proposition, dan sebelah kiri adalah gambaran dari customer. So you can see there are three, each of the either the circle or the box, they do have three parts, and most of the parts will have each mapping one by one. Let's say the customer jobs. The next definition is the next slide anyway. But just to make sure the basic idea, value proposition on the left, and then customer profile on the right. And
Ready.
Yes.
2 minutes left for
Okay.
the presentation.
Basically this is the last slide, and the next two slides are the examples that we can discuss and the Q&A. So basically, the customer profile needs to fit with the value map. The customer profile needs to explain the customer jobs. Jadi di bagian ini kita harus pastikan bagaimana pelanggan dapat mengakses apa yang mereka perlukan. Jadi katakanlah kita pelanggan ingin makan mie gitu ya. Berarti pelanggan harus memastikan bahwa mie-nya bisa dimasak gitu ya, tersedia di pasaran, harganya juga dapat dibeli gitu ya, kemudian juga makanannya edible ya, bisa dimakan gitu ya. From the eye of a customer profile, they would like to share their gains and their pains. Jadi mereka akan menceritakan apa keuntungan ketika makan mie tadi terpenuhi. Tetapi mereka juga bisa menceritakan apa derita atau pains ya yang mereka rasakan pada saat mereka membeli mie. Katakanlah mereka berharap ada mie yang tidak mudah hancur karena mereka sering beli mie instan gitu ya, beli tetapi begitu sampai rumah sudah hancur. So the pains needs to they can describe what they do not want, apa yang mereka tidak inginkan dalam produknya. Setelah kita memahami customer profile, maka kita harus pastikan bahwa kita memberikan value map. Dan value map ini harus memenuhi masing-masing yang diinginkan oleh customer. Gain creator. Begitu kita memahami apa harapan dari customer, kita bisa meng-create gain-nya. Begitu kita memahami pain atau derita dari customer, kita bisa memberikan solusi biar derita tersebut, the pain will be relieved. So the pain that is experienced by the customer are relieved. And the last one, we can propose the product and services of the value proposition. Jadi basically the value map will cover all the customer profile and map in the middle. Jadi kita bisa memastikan apa yang mereka cerita, mereka inginkan, dan mereka lakukan untuk menikmati layanan kita dapat terpenuhi. I think that's all the presentation. I do have 2 remaining slides, but this is something that I would like to share during the Q&A. So I will return the opportunity to moderator, please. Terima kasih. Ya, silakan Bapak. So, can we proceed?
Okay,
with
thank
Q&A?
you so much, Pak. Okay, thank you so much, Pak Edi. And participant, we give applause to Pak Edi. So for now, we will go ahead and take some time for Q&A. Anyone who wants to address the question directly, please write the question on the text bar or click the raise hand button. I would like to remind our colleagues to fill the attendance list. We have shared the link in the chat box. We will send you updates of the competition through the email address you have filled in. Okay. Everyone, next. Jika ada yang ingin bertanya, boleh silakan ya.
Silahkan. Jika tidak ada, mungkin kita bisa exercise ya dengan value.
Pak Edi.
Oke, Rivaldo ya. Mas
Rivaldo.
silakan.
Oke.
Bisa boleh bahasa or in English is up to you.
Maaf, ini bertanya pakai bahasa Inggris atau bahasa Indonesia?
Bahasa Indonesia boleh.
Gini Pak, tadi kan Pak maaf, tadi kan Bapak menjelaskan tentang ada 3 poin dari value gitu ya. Itu ada variable, ada differentiated, ada sama apa ya, substantiated gitu ya Pak. Nah tadi kan pas Bapak jelaskan itu kan waktu itu saya kurang apa ya, nggak terlalu fokus Pak. Jadi pas poin kedua itu kurang mengerti Pak. Jadi mungkin Bapak bisa ulang gitu. Maaf ya Pak.
Makasih.
Ya.
Jadi basically ketika kita membicarakan value, ada 3 komponen yang harus kita pastikan. Pertama adalah memang bermanfaat atau valuable, bisa memenuhi keinginan atau dan keperluan pelanggan. Yang kedua adalah differentiated. Differentiated adalah dia memang terlihat berbeda. Jadi di mata pelanggan kita dianggap berbeda dan kitalah yang memang bisa memenuhi keinginan atau keperluan mereka. Jadi highlight-nya adalah no alternative are as good. Jadi tidak ada pesaing yang memberikan keuntungan atau manfaat seperti yang bisa kita berikan. Differentiated, jadi kalau mungkin bahasa Inggrisnya mungkin distinctive ya. Kita berbeda sehingga kita bisa dikenali. Kenapa kita dikenali? Karena dianggap cuma kitalah yang memang bisa memenuhi keinginan atau keperluan mereka. Jadi differentiated. Ini dibedakan yang ketiga. Kalau substantiated adalah dia memang secara normatif ya, secara substantif ya, mereka percaya ke kita. Jadi bermanfaat, valuable atau berharga gitu ya. Berbeda, differentiated, berbeda karena kitalah yang dianggap bisa memenuhi, dan yang terakhir karena mereka juga percaya ke kita. Mungkin gitu ya. Memang kita harus menjadi berbeda, itu salah satu basic strategi ya, being unique atau being different. Kalau kita sama dengan para kompetitor, mereka tidak bisa membedakan kita ya. Memang kita harus tampil beda. Tapi di sisi lain, kita harus pastikan bahwa tidak ada pilihan lain yang bisa yang sebagus kita. Mungkin itu ya, Mas atau Pak Arif Aldo.
Ya, makasih, baik Pak.
Iya, silakan jika ada pertanyaan. Jika tidak ada, saya mengusulkan untuk diskusi ya, kita bisa exercise dengan Wuling Air. Tapi saya serahkan ke moderator Apakah masih menunggu pertanyaan atau justru kita diskusi dengan beberapa partisipan? So we
Mungkin
will have an interactive session.
mungkin karena tidak ada yang ingin bertanya lagi ya Pak, jadi bisa untuk diskusi aja.
Silahkan. Mungkin saya akan pilih 1 atau 2 orang ya untuk diskusi. Mas atau Pak Kemal Ataturk boleh speak up. Pak Kemal Ataturk. Halo? Kalau kita lakukan exercise terhadap value, mungkin kita akan bisa lebih paham ya. Dan yang saya usulkan adalah value dari mobil Wuling. Kemal, Mas Kemal atau Pak Kemal, boleh speak up. Ini saya randomly akan pick up ya. Pak Fadli, Muhammad Fadli, boleh speak up. Muhammad Fadli. Belum ada juga. Biar kita lebih interaktif ya. Mungkin satu lagi saya pilih. Kalau tidak nanti saya akan coba jelaskan secara lebih detail ya. Mbak Hartini Ayuning Tias boleh speak up. Masuk dari 3 tidak ada satupun. Ya. Halo, Hartini Ayuning Tias. Nggak ada ya? Ini saya cuma lihat listnya ya, saya tidak lihat videonya. Mungkin saya akan coba kasih contoh ya value exercise dari mobil Wuling. Jadi pada saat Wuling meluncurkan mobil listrik ya, Air EV, mereka memastikan bahwa yang basic-basic atau must be itu terpenuhi, yaitu ini memang suatu mobil listrik, itu very basic ya. Ketika ada pelanggan yang ingin merasakan mobil listrik, mereka bisa memilih ini. Jadi mereka atau para pelanggan itu mungkin tidak punya uang untuk membeli mobil yang lebih mahal, apalagi Tesla gitu ya. Tapi mereka bisa merasakan satu mobil listrik dengan membeli Wuling. Jadi very basic service atau produk dari mobil Wuling ini terpenuhi, yaitu ini memang mobil listrik, ditenagai oleh listrik. Kemudian kinerja yang minimal masih terpenuhi. Dia bisa jalan 200 km misalnya ya dengan sekian 11 jam di charge gitu ya. Dia bisa lewat tanjakan, tapi mungkin dia tidak bisa lewat jalanan yang berbatu misalnya. Tapi itu bukan sesuatu yang memang dari awal direncanakan. Gitu. Kemudian kalau di lighters tadi, mungkin Wuling akhirnya berpendapat kalau kita berikan warna menarik dari mobil yang kita jual, itu akan membuat para customer senang gitu ya. They are happy with the colors. So they get the very cheap or very affordable electrical car with the sufficient performance and the looks are not that bad gitu ya. Jadi memang mobil listrik kinerjanya cukup untuk jalan kota dan memang tampilannya tidak buruk gitu ya. Akhirnya dengan value yang ditawarkan seperti ini, Wuling bisa dapat para pelanggan. Pelanggannya adalah orang yang memang ingin coba mobil listrik tapi tidak merasa bahwa dia harus pergi ke Bandung setiap hari misalnya, dia tidak harus pergi ke puncak setiap minggu gitu ya. Dan orang yang memang tidak pergi untuk gengsi-gengsian gitu ya. Ini cara kita memetakan value ya. Keperluan dasarnya, kemudian apa yang dianggap ada, tapi kalau tidak ada pun juga tidak apa-apa. Okay, I think the time is up. I can return the opportunity to moderator. Or is there any question? Ya, saya kembalikan ke moderator. Silahkan.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Edi, for the session. It's all we have covered all of question. Thank you for Pak Edi for a great knowledge. And participant, we give applause to Pak Edi. Thank you very much, Pak Edi. And participant, let's move on the next session. We have Bapak Dr. Insinyur Dimas Negoro, MM IPM, as lecturer Faculty of Economic and Business, Universitas Esa Unggul. For the next participant, if you have question, we will have the Q&A session after this. In the meantime, you may write the question on the text check box or raise hand during the Q&A session. Pak Dimas, the time is yours.
Oke, thank you Miss Sunarni, Bapak Ibu, adik-adik mahasiswa, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to deliver materials on this valuable session. Let me share my screen first. Okay, is it already seen? Okay, is it clear, Mbak Sunarni?
Okay, clear.
Okay, right. Okay, I'll continue the presentation from Pak Edi. Previously, Pak Edi is more focused on the value proposition. Now, I'll continue with the model or the business model canvas itself. But before I'm discussing the materials, let me introduce myself. You can call me Dimas. These are my background. Previously, I have worked with several companies. I start my career as a financial analyst at Dana Reksa, and then I work at one of Indonesian's holding company. I'll continue with hedge fund, it's financial or investment firm, international, and then I also serve as an advisor to several state-owned enterprise and also the government. In addition to the professional career, I also have teaching experience in universities such as BINUS, MMUI, PPM, in addition to Esa Unggul. But at this time, I'm a full-time faculty at Esa Unggul. Okay, in addition to my professional endeavor, I'm also currently as an entrepreneur. After I finished my undergraduate degree, I started with my friend a property company called Matahari Pilar Utama. But since the company was not run as expected, I took a master degree and start my professional path in finance. But at the same time, I'm pursuing my career in finance. I'm also building companies. Yeah, Mahagatra was consulting companies. Yeah, we start Mahagatra as a consulting company, and we are doing consulting or advisory in our weekend or even in lunch time or after office hours, and sometimes we give it for free. And unfortunately, at that time there was a good joint venture that we made with one of Indonesia's large conglomerates, and then Mahagatra become a holding company. So we have several investee companies within the group. And at the end, we sold our shares to the joint venture partners. Currently, I also, me and my colleagues, my previous colleagues and friends, built a consulting firm as well. And we do some consulting projects with state-owned enterprises, basically. But we are not planning to do just consulting. We are planning to become an asset management like the late Mahagatra. So that's my entrepreneurship story at the moment. Okay, let's continue Pak Edi discussion and Pak Edi materials. What is actually business model? Well, let's start with our idea. We have business idea, and then what's next? Well, the answer is simple. Let's collect the remaining pieces. And what are those pieces? Those pieces would be on your business model canvas. So the idea of business model canvas is identify your business idea components. And this canvas can serve as a planning guideline, for your business idea. Well, as you might already understand, that idea is just simply idea. It cannot be implemented without a proper planning. And in order for us to implement those idea at efficient or effective ways, we need to have a plan. And this business model is part of your plan. And as any other plan, it can be or it should be continuously improve, simplify, or rethink. We can divide our business model using, just simply using left part of our business model. Basically, this business model is based on Osterwalder-Pigner concept. And in their concept, the business model consists of, in generally, two parts. The right part, which Pak Edi already discussed, some of it already discussed in Pak Edi presentation, is mostly concerned on the customer side, on the customer side, which means financially how we generate our revenue. So this part is the customer side, that consists of value proposition, customer segment, channels, and customer relationships. Well, we also have the left part of our business model. In this left part, basically concerned on the operational side of our business. So it consists of key resources, what resources that we need for our idea or for our business, what activities that we should do, and is there any partners that can improve our operation. And those activities, resources, and partners should give us the picture of our cost structure. So that's basically the business model canvas. Okay, more or less your business canvas look like this. You can start with a piece of paper, and then you divide it into several squares, and then you identify the key components of your business model. Okay, Pak Edi previously already talked about the value proposition and customers. Let's continue on the remaining pieces. Okay, after we know our business idea value, the important value that we can deliver to customer, and we also know for whom we are creating the value, then the next question would be how or through which channel we can deliver our value proposition. And that's basically the next piece of our business model, which is the channel. We can use sales, we can use sales team, website, we build shops, or even wholesale in order to give or to deliver our product or services to customer. But of course, we should understand that the longer path we need to deliver our product or services to customer, the costly the channel will be. So that means we have to choose our channel carefully in order to have competitive advantage. We as a startup really need competitive advantage, especially related to prices. So one of the things that we can consider in early phases of our business idea is how can we deliver the product and services, through which channels. Make sure we choose the most efficient one or the most suitable one. Well, it depends on the targeted customer. Okay, and then after we deliver our product and services to customers, and then what next? Well, the customer might have something to us. They might need another product. They might have something to say. They might have some complaints. And that's the next piece of the business model, which is customer relationship. In this customer relationship part, we can identify some items. We can put some components to our in our customer relationships, such as using personal assistants. Well, as you might already intuitively know that the more personal assistant, the higher your cost will be. So we can have another choice, such as using bot, chatbot, or automated services. You can also use self-services or even social medias for your customer relationship. We as entrepreneur, we should always calculate our costs carefully, so that our end products or our end services would be very competitive, especially in terms of pricing. Okay, that's the right part of our business model. And that right part is actually relates to our revenue stream. Because as Pak Edi already said before, our customer is our king. They have the money that we did for our business. So make sure we collect the right amount of revenue and the right way of revenue. That's how we identify the items revenue stream. We can identify revenue streams such as using asset sale, where if we are selling a product or some bundle of product, means that we most likely to have asset sale in our revenue stream. In addition to that, there are also other alternatives, such as usage fee. It means that when the customer only pay when they are using our services. we can also use subscription fee. Yeah, it means that whether the customer use our product, our services or not, they pay to our company regularly. And we can also have non-customer based revenue. Yeah, we can have non-customer based revenue, such as using advertising or donation. Well, just which one is suitable? Of course, it depends on your business. Later on, we'll discuss some examples. Yeah, so we'll discuss some examples using this business model. Okay, that's the right part. Yeah, the whole right part of our business model that consists of value proposition to customer that delivers delivered using some channels, and we listen the customer through our customer relationship units, and those should make us identify the revenue, the revenue streams that we can have, as a startup. Okay, let's focus on the left part. The left part start with the key resources. Okay, the left part is basically about operation. The left part is about our startup operational management side. Now, in order to operate, in order to produce product and services, of course, we need resources. Yeah, we need resources. What are key resources that we need in order to produce our product and services? And the answer of the question would be the items on the key resources part of the business model. The content could be physical assets such as facilities, vehicles, machines, computers, etc. It also can be intellectual resources. Let's say if we are startup of from lab, yeah, we invent something in lab and then we turn it into startup. Of course, we need to protect our idea or our research using intellectual resources. Yeah, we can have patents or even copyright. Humans, yeah, human resources or human capital is mostly identified as an important key resources. And financial, of course, is part of our resources needed. Yeah, but as we already know, startup will not have the luxury of significant financial available. So make sure we identify the key resources and we spend it carefully. Well, we might not have the financial resources to have all the other resources that we need, yeah, but we can utilize partnership, or even for some resources that we need, we can even borrow or lease, let's say, machines or machines, places, yeah, facilities, etc. So the key resources part are something that we can think when we are try to make our business more efficient. Yeah, make sure we put our resources, or we think our resources in efficient way. Okay, one of the okay, before continue with the partnership, let's continue with the key activities. After we are identifying key resources that we need to deliver our product and services, then we should know to some extent what are key activities, what things that we need to do in order to, well, produce the product and deliver to customer. what activities that we can internally do, and which part that we can, let's say, give to our partners. And the key activities that we might think of doing ourselves, such as designing, making, or delivering our product and services to customer. We can also have activities such as the problem solving, yeah, as a consultant or as a salesperson. They need to show that our product or service is the solution to the customer problems. So that could be an important part of our activities. And we might also need to build, to improve, or to update our platform. Yeah, since maybe some of you think about building business in technological sectors, or even using technology as the main components of your business model, then it means your key activities would be on building, maintaining, and updating your platform. So that's the things that you need to identify in the key activities. Okay, we previously have the idea of resource that we need, or we might not need, and the key activities that we have to do, or maybe that we can outsource to other companies, and those resources or those activities that we should not do by ourselves, we can give it to our partners. Yeah, we can give it to our partners. So the partners can make our operation more efficient. It will be in better economies of scale. It is also risk sharing, yeah, because as you know, business is, well, starting a business is very risky situation. If we have the opportunity to share our risk to, let's say, some partners, then we should do that. Yeah, by doing that, we are actually reducing our risk, and we can focus on managing, yeah, managing the risk that we can directly control. Okay, that's the key partners. Yeah, these partners can reduce our key activities list or reduce our resources needed. And the partnership can be in the form of just simple agreement, alliance, JV, but it's JV for to some extent might be very takes lots of documentation. Yeah, in the context of starting the business, maybe the partnership just simply having verbal agreement. Yeah, simply having verbal agreement. Well, it just depends on the relationship between the partners. Yeah, the better the relationship, the partnership will be more on the verbal side, yeah, rather than on the formal agreement. Okay, that's the left part, and the left part conclude with the cost structure. Yeah, cost structure. If we have the activities, the resources that we need, then we will have the cost structure. Usually we divided the cost structure into fixed or variable costs, and we can add other significant costs, such as the cost of doing feasibility research and etc. Yeah, well, depends on the the business idea that you have, let's say for something related to infrastructure or some business that relates to the items that is regulated by the government, then we need to have a cost structure to prepare our study, in order to apply for, let's say, for license. Fintech industry at the early phase, of industry, they don't need much of the documentation. OJK, the Financial Authority of Indonesia, they don't require fintech startup to, let's say, comply to lots of regulation that they have for banking or financial industry. But at the moment, if you want to build a fintech startup, the condition would be very much different. It's very different than the previous. At this moment, even in the startup phase, the startup need to comply to lots of regulation, including the capital level, and then the requirement regarding the dashboard that that is available to the financial authority, and etc. So those costs should be identified. Okay, that's the remaining part. That's the remaining part of your business idea. You start with the business idea, and then you convert those idea into value proposition that can be delivered to certain customer segment using specific channel. And in order to understand your customer better, you are also employing some means to your customer relationship, such as social media, customer relationship, personnel, etc. And those customer part would be your revenue stream. That would be the right part of your business model, would be your revenue stream. So make sure you identify the revenue, and you can also consider such important items such as the pricing, the quantity later on in your business plan. That's the right part of the business model. While at the left part, we are concerned about operation side of the business. We start by identifying the key resources, and then the key activities and key partners. And those operating side should give us the picture of the cost, the cost structure that we have to prepare in order to run our business model. Okay, that's the business model canvas that is proposed by Oosterwolde Pigner. This business model is actually very comprehensive, teman-teman. This is very comprehensive business model. The component is quite extensive, but you can have alternative. You can have the simpler business model canvas. And if you want more or simpler business model, there's an alternative to the BMC, is the Lean Canvas. well, in this Lean Canvas is not actually very simple. Yeah, it basically consists of the same square, but the idea presented in the Lean Canvas is much simpler than BMC. Yeah, it is focused on the problem solving. Yeah, problem solving. Our business idea most likely to be the solution to, let's say, our targeted customer problems or an issues that need to be solved, such as climate change or any other issues that we plan or we want to contribute. And this Lean Canvas is basically focusing on the problem solving. Yeah, it starts with the identification of problems. Yeah, what kind of problem that you want to solve, and whose are the customer, yeah, customer segment that has those problems. Yeah, that we need to basically we can sell the solution. Yeah, we can sell the solution to the customer segment. And in selling those solution or in solving those problems, we can have unique value proposition. So we should write here the value proposition in the middle part of the canvas, and then we can identify the solution that can or most likely to reduce, at least reduce the problem of the customer in this left part. And then well, as like any other solution, we should also think, is there any uniqueness? Is there any uniqueness to our solution that make our solution, our business, our product or services is unlikely to be copied or adopted by others? Yeah. So basically, that's the Lean Canvas. It's more focused on the problem solving, but at the end, both BMC and the Lean Canvas end up with the financials. Yeah, the revenue stream as well as the cost structure. Okay, that's that's the two models, yeah, two business model that you can use in your Okay, is there any question? No? Okay. That's the two models.
There's 5 minutes left to presentation for the presentation.
All right, 5 minutes left. Okay. Okay, the next one is the example. Let's say this is the
5 minutes left.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. 5 minutes left. Understand. Okay. The few slides is about the example. Yeah. This one is Indonesia Mengajar. Well, basically, this picture gives you the idea how to do the BMC. You can write your idea or items in post-it notes and then discuss it with your friend, rearrange it, restructure, delete something, add someone, add something. So that's how the process of improving your business model. There's also the examples of Airbnb in this picture, but let's discuss on the next one. The next one is the example of Lean Canvas. Well, basically, as we already discussed, it's about problem solving. So what are the problem? The problem is we have the problems of paying cash when we are in school, And the solution would be the application that utilize QR code in order for the students or parents to pay in the school environment. Okay, that's all of my presentation, and these are the last tips. Yeah, the last tips for you to utilize or to effectively use business model. First, you should work on your complete business model components. It means that you should identify all parts of your business model. Yeah, all part of your business model. And after that, you can or you should have some uniqueness. Yeah, you should have some uniqueness on your business model, and those uniqueness is actually can be put on your pitching slides later. So it means that you can show your detailed business model in your pitching slide, but I'm not suggesting of you doing that. Yeah, just basically show your uniqueness. Yeah, but in order to have your uniqueness and understanding, the global or the holistic understanding of your business idea, you should first build your complete business model. Okay, that's all of my presentation. I think I'll give back the time to Ms. Sunarni.
Okay, thank you so much, Pak Dimas. And dear participant, give applause to Pak Dimas atas materinya. So for now, we will go ahead, take some time for Q&A. Anyone who wants to address the question directly, please write the question on the text box or click the raise hand button. Okay.
Sir, I want to ask.
Okay.
Yes,
Saraswati.
I want to ask about, do we have to calculate in the cost structure table of for fixed and variable costs that we spend? Is it okay if in that column we only write expenses in a description, such as electricity cost, there is a Wi-Fi, water, and etc. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Saraswati. Okay, business model canvas is only one tool, yeah, only a tool that make you have a good picture of your business holistically. Yeah, it is not the only tool that you need to have good business. Yeah, unfortunately, so the business model itself is not complete. If you want to know the detailed financial part, well, you have to build your financial model. Or even you might need to assess, yeah, to assess your feasibility. Maybe later on, if you build your business plan, yeah, the business plan is more holistic, yeah, picture of your business. It is needed, yeah, it is needed for you to have the financial model or the feasibility calculation. Meanwhile, in this business canvas, you just need to identify. You just need to identify important costs. Yeah, in addition to fixed costs, variable costs, what are other that is needed. Yeah, so you might put some numbers. Yes, so might put some numbers, but don't get to details. Yeah, don't get to details on the financial in this business model. So that there's another tool that you can use.
Oh, okay. So we have to put the calculation, not only the description, not only the, yeah.
The main thing that you need to put on the cost or revenue is the component. Yeah. So if you have the rough number of your cost structure or revenue, well, you can put just simply one line, one line or one number, one number on your revenue or cost part. Don't put the complete calculation. Don't put your rigorous calculation on the business model canvas, because it will make your business canvas more complicated. So just identify the component. Is it
does that also apply in the revenue stream?
Yes, that's correct.
So we put the total of the cost or the revenue stream. Is it okay?
That's okay. For the total of, let's say, you can use the first year or even the 5-year plan of your revenue stream or even cost, but don't give further information on that unless you discuss it in greater detail in the business plan. So that should be as simple as possible, Saraswati.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for your answer.
Okay, thank you to Saraswati and participant. Boleh yang lain?
You can ask the question in Indonesia as well, ya, teman-teman. No? Okay, if there's no question, I think that's all of my presentation, Mbak Sunarni.
Okay. Please give last standing untuk penutup gitu.
Oh, okay. I think today you have very important part, very important part on your business idea, which are the remaining component of business idea. So if you have idea and then questioning what's next, the next is preparing your business model. So of course, later on, if you are presenting your pitching, you should know the holistic, the whole picture of your business idea. And the better you answer the component of your business idea, the more likely, your business idea understood by the examiner, and potentially to progress on the next level. But of course, before having the remaining part, you should have the first part, which is the idea. So I think that's all from me. Good luck for your endeavor, and don't forget to give solution to our aging world, because we have lots of problem, and those problems need solution from you. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Dimas, for a great knowledge. It's look like we covered all of question. And sekali lagi, terima kasih kepada Pak Dimas and participant. We give applause to Pak Dimas. Thank you for this session. And I would like to remind all colleagues to fill the attendance list. We have shared the link in the text box. We will send you updates of this competition through the email address you have filed in. Due the limit time, we have to end this session. We hope that today's session can be useful for participants to become entrepreneurs in the future. Before we end this meeting, let's take a picture together. Please turn on your camera. And participant, please turn on your camera. We can. Okay. In this meeting has 5 slides. We start slide 1, yes. Slide 1. 1, 2, 3. And slide 2. 1, 2, 3. And slide 3. 1, 2, 3. And last slide. 1, 2, 3. And thank you very much for your time, and thank you for Pak Dimas and Pak Edi. Thank you for this session, and have a nice weekend. See you on the next master class, and good luck into IC 2022. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pak Dimas, Pak Edi.
Terima kasih Pak Edi, terima kasih Bapak Ibu, sehat-sehat selalu.